Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all. Let's talk about how to construct a state of the art. To answer this question, first of all, we need to understand what is a state of the art. State of the art is a type of a literature review, and it is an essential part of any research. It is an account of what is known on a specific subject with a purpose to create a complete representation of this knowledge and to find out what is not known about specific circumstance connected to the topic. According to the definition given by Ridley, the literature review is a part of the paper where there is extensive reference to related research in your field. It is where connections are made between the source texts that you draw on and where you position yourself and your own work amongst these sources. In the slide, state of the art is not just a simple reproduction of the information, and its objective is not to show how much you've read. By doing this part of the research, you must show what research has been conducted in your field and what is the relationship between the concept, sources, and texts existing in the field. You must address them critically, as well as you must find a niche to position yourself and your research within the field of existing knowledge. It is important to understand that any type of literature review is not a type of an essay or paper. It is a part of your paper. It is about reviewing major works that have been written on a narrow topic of your choice, but it doesn't state or proves your main points. It demonstrates main findings on the topic and their interconnection. So why to create state of the art? First of all, to demonstrate what is known about the topic. When you read and explore literature, you gain knowledge and expertise about the topic. When you create your state of the art, you show the depth of knowledge you've acquired in the process of your research. It also helps you to position your work within the field of existing knowledge and to demonstrate your expertise. Finally, it helps you to identify a gap in the knowledge, something unknown which provides you with the context for your thesis and clarifies what contribution you can make with your own research. Literature review starts by reading. You need to evaluate the literature that you read. It is necessary that you include only trusted, peer-reviewed sources like scholarly articles, books, as well as conference proceedings and dissertations. Pay attention if they are created by experts, if they are relevant to your research and bring important contribution to the field of study. Generally, journal articles are preferred because the journals are published more frequently than books. Thus, they usually contain the newest research, as well as they are trusted, peer-reviewed, published, and academic. While reading a research, it is important to analyze the information and important concepts correctly. John Swells describes three moves most research introductions make that might be helpful not only while reading and reviewing the articles to identify my ideas, but also later on when we are creating our own research, especially the part of introduction. First, the author must establish the territory. Identify the context of your research by following one or all of the steps. Mention the significant research that exists in the area. Make statements about current knowledge. Relate what has been done and found on the topic. After that, establish your niche, a space that needs to be filled by additional research. You can do it by challenging previous authors, by demonstrating that earlier research doesn't sufficiently address all existing problems, by asking questions about the previous research, or presenting useful extension of existing research. In the following move, the author will occupy the niche or fill the gap and answer the questions, which is already the next step of your research. So, how to start writing your literature review? It is easy to get lost in tons of volumes that you have read. So it's highly recommended to structure your sources to see how they're interconnected and which ones have relevance to your own research. You need to invest time in planning since it will make the whole writing process easier in the future. First of all, create an outline or a conceptual map of the concepts found while reading literature. You can organize them in different ways. Chronologically, starting from earlier studies and moving on to the later ones, by perspectives of authors, what positions they take, to what schools of thoughts do they belong. You can also represent the information geographically by countries and continents. You can adapt methodological approach, stating how the research has been done, or thematical approach, indicating main concepts, topics, and questions. Start by selecting a topic and develop questions and sub-questions that need to be addressed. This will help you to determine the content of your literature review. Narrow it down to the specific context you want to address and state the perspectives that exist in the area. Then you will see how all the ideas fit inside one another like a matryoshka doll. When the structure and connections are clear, write your first draft, revise it, and proofread. You must use academical language. Presenting your ideas, you move from being descriptive to being interpretive. Try to include such phrases like various authors suggest that, although the research addresses the issue of, it doesn't take into consideration that, and so on. Many authors prefer to start with the main body of your writing, leaving introduction and conclusion for later, when you will be sure that you are not going to add or exclude any information. It is very important to keep track of your citations using Mendeley and correct APA format. Don't forget to include references at the end. This is very essential to acknowledge works that you've been using for your literature review. While writing, be critical and interpretative. But remember that you do not need to prove your own perspective at this point of research. Identify the gap in information that exists in the literature on the topic that you are going to focus in your further research. By this, you will address the research that is needed in your field of studies, how your paper will help to keep building the existing knowledge. Remember that filling this gap is not the purpose of literature review. The purpose is stating what gap exists and what knowledge is missing. It is important to take into account that there are certain values that are required from the state of the art, like accuracy, quality of research, objectivity, thoroughness, and strong analysis, as well as good organization and attention to details. Position your work within the existing knowledge. Show your own voice. Acknowledge the experts you have selected for your work and show how you can go beyond what is already done. Following these principles will help you to create a successful state of the art. Thank you for your attention.